Hi friends, welcome back. I am so glad you are here today. We are back in the kitchen and we are using up stuff that we have. We're doing a meal prep, and this meal prep is for a maximum of weight loss. Now, a little bit about me. Hi, my name is Vicki-Lynne. Nice to meet you. I have lost about 100 pounds, or just over 100 pounds on a whole food plant-based diet / vegan. So what does that mean? It means I kind of fluctuate sometimes, and that's not a bad thing. It's just it's life once in a while. So what I'm trying to say is I give myself grace. It's pretty easy. I try to be the best that I can, and I try to give myself grace when I need to. I still have a ways to go, but again, just going to kind of show you the meals that I like to eat. And I have some sweets today. I have a whole bunch of stuff. So today I'm going to be making a carrot soup. So I think my last video or so, I grated up a bunch of carrots. They didn't get used for my bowls, so I have some left. So my thing was, let's make some carrot soup. I'm going to add in some red lentils to that because I always have beans and legumes and stuff always in my basic staples here. I do have a video on the kind of the staples you need to have just when you're, starting out. Obviously, potatoes, rice, beans, and legumes are always going to be there. They're the foundation to everything. So I also have a bunch of potatoes that need to get cooked. So I am going to make a big batch of mashed potatoes and then make my mashed potato fries and maybe a couple of mashed potato waffles. I'll put those up here. I have a couple of shorts for those. I'm also going to be making the easiest brownies using chickpeas, my favorite, and some of my date paste that I have. So I have enough left that I was like, oh, that's perfect. And it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ingredients. And they're healthy. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a tofu scramble. Not just a tofu scramble, but I make a lot of tofu scrambles and I mix it up every time, just like you should, so that you don't get bored with it. And I think, so in the mashed potatoes, I have some cabbage that I want to cook up, and I just saute my cabbage, and I kind of like to burn it a little bit, or char it, let's say char it a little bit. It just gives it such a great nutty flavor. So I'm going to probably cook that up, and this isn't going to take long because this is just going to all come together. The soup we're going to blend at the end. And the one thing I always tell you when you're meal prepping is have good music on, or you can have your computer and watch something, because it just makes the time go way faster, and always have a good drink. So I normally have my iced coffee, and I have a recipe on how I make my own cold brew, but I actually have kombucha today. So I'm going to have my berry kombucha while I start chopping and going through everything. And I have a lot of my stuff already done because I was supposed to be making a soup and then I never got around to it. Life got in the way. So I already have celery in here already chopped up with some carrots. So that's going to go in. I just need to chop up a little bit of onion. And I think in this one I'm going to but I'm going to do a little turmeric, some garlic, and I think just a smidgen of coriander and some thyme for my carrot soup. I think that sounds really good. I will have the recipes, guys, down below. Do not worry. They'll be over on my website. Help yourself over there all the time. And again, I have my tofu recipe over there too, and it's vicki-lynne.com. But I'll leave the link down below, so just feel free to go over and take a look at that. And again, change it up all the time. So let's get started. And let me show you the foods that I've eaten to lose 100 pounds. So here are the potatoes. I'm going to peel them this time and cut them up, and we're going to make mashed potatoes out of that. And when I do my meal prep, I like to gather everything that I need. This is mostly so that this is going to be our soup over here. I'm going to go in the soup. So that's going to be our brownies. We have our tofu and everything over here. There we go. Sorry. I also have some tortilla wraps. We call them tortillas, but they're wraps. Anyway, because they're the flour ones. I also have those just because I've been using them with our beans and stuff. So a wrap is a great way to do breakfast. And using my tofu scramble is a great place to put it because you're getting a lot of protein. And I do try to watch my protein because as you get older, that whole menopause thing, it makes it tougher if you're not watching your protein a little bit. But again, I have learned the hard way that I'm not obsessing about stuff, and neither should you. I'm trying to eat healthy, trying to lose weight, trying to lower my cholesterol, and so far my cardiologist is very pleased. He thinks I'm doing a fabulous job. So basically for our soup, almost everything is already chopped up. So I'm just going to take half of this onion, save a smaller half or whatever for my tofu scramble. And I am just, remember, we're blending this at the end. And you could use your blender or you could use an immersion blender, whatever you want. So we don't have to be really picky on how things are. You can always put that in your soup bag. That's how I got my gorgeous veggie broth. I made that. We are going to start by heating up our pot. I'm putting in a little splash of water. You could use your stock if you want. I'm just doing water. And then I'm adding in the onions. We are going to add in our carrots and our celery. And again, this is a great soup. Low calorie, easy to make. We just want to slightly brown these, saute them till they're a little bit translucent because they'll impart a better flavor. Okay, so that has sauteed. I'm going to add in the shredded carrots now because they're not going to take very long to cook. So I'm going to add in my red lentils. That's going to give it body, it's going to help them thicken, it's going to add protein, all that fun stuff. We are going to add in our stock. Then I'll keep an eye and see if I'm going to need more, which I might add a little bit. We're going to add in some turmeric. I try to add turmeric in a lot of things that I eat just because of my joints and everything. Garlic powder for now. I'm not going to add in the cumin, the coriander and the thyme until later. I'm going to add a couple of bay leaves. Then we're just going to bring that up to a boil. And then we're going to let it simmer for a little bit. All right, so we are going to start next on our brownies. I have preheated my oven to 350. It's just coming up now. What you're going to need is an 8x8 pan. I'm using parchment paper. I try to stay away from the sprays. I'm really trying to hone in on like zero oil, a little bit better. And again, as I said, I'm not perfect. And so this recipe comes together very easily. And it has date paste in it. And I'd like you to leave me a comment down below or give me a thumbs up if you use date paste, if you've ever heard of date paste or date sugar. I really like it. I find I make date caramel with it, which is to die for with apples or anything else. Oh, date caramel, how I love you so much. Anyway, let's get blending. And as I said, this recipe comes together quite quickly. We're going to do our batter. And as I said, it comes together quite easily. You're going to take your chickpeas. You want 1.5 cups of cooked chickpeas. Or 1 can if that's what you're using. I always cook my own, so we are good there. And I reuse those, so I'll wash those up. Now I'm using soy milk. You could use any plant milk that you want, but with the chickpeas and the soy milk, Definitely going to bump up the protein, even for our snack, which is going to be great. And then we're just going to blend them until it's smooth. I'm also going to add in now the date paste. And the measurements will be down below, guys. But if you've been here before, you do know that I definitely eyeball a lot of things. And I want you to get that comfortable in your kitchen that you eyeball things too. Okay. Good enough. So in my bowl, I'm going to use a half a cup of oat flour. Please don't buy oat flour. Please just make your own oat flour. It's way too easy and too expensive not to. And then we're also going to add in our cocoa powder, some baking powder. Give that a quick whisk. And we're going to add in our wet ingredients into the dry. Now we're just going to mix that all together. Make sure everything gets incorporated. And then every brownie needs chocolate chips. You can get the date sweetened ones too. You could also use your muffin pan and make individual ones. That wasn't stirred all that great, was it? Hang on a second. One of the things I want my channel to show you is that vegan or whole food plant-based does not have to be boring or disgusting or anything else but good and delicious. And that is easy. Cooking is easy. I meet so many people who are so uptight about being in the kitchen and cooking and measuring. And I mean, yes, sometimes you have to measure. But honestly, for a pot of soup, you really don't have to measure. You're going to look at it and go, oh, that's not going to blend so well. It needs more liquid. And that is what I hope my channel helps you learn, is how easy it is to make good, delicious, nutritious food without oil and without any animal products. I'm going to sprinkle a couple more chocolate chips on top. So in the oven for 30 minutes, give or take, 30 to 40, I'll check it halfway through. And then the last thing I'm going to do, or the second last thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to make the tofu scramble, which again is another simple recipe, comes together in a couple of minutes. You don't really have to do much with it. And I just see what kind of needs to get used in my kitchen. And that is what I use. So I had mushrooms that needed to get used, and I have this onion. So I'm definitely going to put that in. You could add corn, you could add black beans, you could add just about any vegetable that you like can go in here. I'm just going to chop up the onion real quick. Hey, just me popping in. Wanted to know, are you enjoying this video? Liking my recipes this week? Give it a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you're notified anytime one of my videos goes up. And don't forget, we have a Facebook group, so come on over there and join us. And then we're just going to cut up the mushrooms. I usually leave them a little bit bigger. I do like to put garlic and nutritional yeast in mine. Do you make a tofu scramble? And again, you've probably seen my recipe for the chorizo tofu scramble. That is probably my favorite. I'll put it down below, my recipe down below. Again, super easy, super delicious. And then after I get the tofu scramble going, I'll peel my potatoes because that's what's going to take the longest, and then just cook those up. Okay, so once you have your pan starting to preheat, we're going to add in our onions and our mushrooms. And we're just going to cook those down till they're brown and the mushrooms have released their juices and cooked off. Once the mushrooms and the onions have cooked down, we're going to crumble in our tofu. So a lot of times I press my tofu, but when I'm making tofu scramble, I do not, because I want it to be almost like eggy, and so that it's like a scramble. Now it's time to start adding and layering our flavors. I'm gonna definitely start with some garlic. Gonna put some turmeric in here. Also makes it look a little eggy. I'm gonna put some pepper in here so that it helps the turmeric absorb. And then for that umami flavor, we're gonna put in some nutritional yeast. And then a little bit of smoked paprika, totally up to you. And that's literally your tofu scramble. And there's our tofu scramble all ready. Looks so good. Can't wait to have some of that. All right, so our soup has cooked enough. We're going to remove the bay leaves because nobody wants to choke to death on those. Let me find the other one. There we go. I'm going to take it off of the heat. I'm just going to use my immersion blender. Our potatoes are done. I'm just going to start mashing them. Now you could add whatever you want to your potatoes. I'm going to add in a little bit of granulated garlic. I want garlicky waffles. And I'm going to add in a little bit of soy milk. I just want them to be, light and fluffy. But we don't need any fat to do that. And then just keep adding your plant-based milk until they're as creamy as you want them. And you are done. Obviously going to try them. Delicious. Give them a little mash. And now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some into my container. And if you've watched my potato fry short, you will know that we are going to set these up, and then tomorrow we can slice them up and air fry them. Just put the top on, let them cool, and then let them refrigerate overnight. They'll set up, and then we can make our potato fries. So here is our brownie, healthy and delicious. We have our mashed potatoes, and then the ones that we're going to use for our potato fries. Our gorgeous carrot soup with lentils. And back there we have our tofu scramble. So we are all set up to have a good and healthy week. That's it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you're always notified when one of my videos goes up. I promise I'm going to start being a lot more consistent, and I do want to show up more for you. If there's any way I can help you, if you need a recipe veganized or anything else, please let me know. I'll help you out at the best I can. We are a community here helping each other live the rest of our life, the best of our life. And that means having a healthy body. So until next time, guys, I'll see you soon.